We're back with Grand Tactician Civil War, our CSA campaign. Most of our armies are really not doing much. They are stationary, doing some fort building, and waiting for recently recruited units to arrive and then to get back up to green readiness. Just take a quick scroll through the armies to see how that's going. In the Northern Virginia Army, some of the horse artillery has gotten there. One of the infantry brigades still waiting on cav and a bit more artillery. 4 days, 4 days. This one battalion, apparently coming 8,000 miles from West Virginia, still has a month. And this horse artillery also still quite a ways out. Shenandoah Army hasn't actually received any of its newly recruited units, although they are not far away. Some of them are. And that has to do with where they're coming from. I don't understand why one of those units from West Virginia is taking so long to get to that other army. But in general, when I was recruiting these, I noticed that these Virginia itself has 0 volunteers available. And it looked like South Carolina as well was very low. Whereas some of the Confederate states further to the west had quite a few volunteers. And I think that mainly reflects the fact that our 2 biggest armies from campaign start are in Virginia. The campaign start manpower available as the game started running has already been sucked up into what began as the 2 largest Confederate forces. I think that's what that reflects. The Missouri Army has received most of its new troops. We're just waiting on these 2 artillery battalions, like we saw last episode, and they are now only 2 days away. The Western Virginia Army at Charleston, Virginia, still has not received any of its new units. Although all of these seem to be pretty close. They'll all be here within a week and a half game time. At Nashville, the Army of Tennessee has received just about all the units recruited for them except for 1 battalion, which is only about a week away. Got a typo there in this name. That's going to bug me. When you change it, darn it. When you change a name right here, you're doing it in all caps in this screen. So if you have an error with capitalization, you don't see it here. But in other displays, you do have upper and lower case, so I didn't realize I had capitalized that R. So the Army of Tennessee is just about all together. I'm just waiting on some artillery, which is soon arriving, and then that's our 1 engineering corps. Working on the telegraph system. The forts are coming along, as we saw before. Where is our... Okay. So this telegraph station at Tuscaloosa is almost done. I noticed when I started the game back up that now, having put this telegraph station at Columbus, the routing of the bolded fat red line, which is our main telegraph trunk, has actually been rerouted. Originally it ran from Grenada up to Memphis, either Memphis or Corinth, I don't remember which. Now it diverts and goes from Grenada to Columbus to Decatur, and then back to Corinth. That's kind of... Well, that's a... I don't think that's a... That may not be part of the main trunk. I don't know. Bottom line is, I did not know that the primary central telegraph line from the game store, I didn't know that it could change. I've probably seen that before and just not really registered what had happened. And then where we left off the last episode, most of the fighting in this war so far has gone on in Mississippi. This is kind of where the active campaign is in late summer 1861. So the Army of Missouri has just beaten off the Army of the Mississippi, and it'll be interesting to see which way this army retreats. Because once again, Lebanon has flipped back Confederate because this army is in retreat mode, and the nearest Union-held infrastructure point, there's either Rolla here or Warsaw here, and they're both about equidistant, so I don't know which way he's going to retreat. Meanwhile, though, we have the Army of the West at 11,000 men, larger than it was the last time we fought them, headed down this road. So I think we're about to have another battle, and that battle will be a little bit more evenly matched than the one we just fought against the smaller Army of the Mississippi. And with that, let's get time rolling. And it looks like he's retreating south, which makes no sense because this is Confederate, that's Confederate, I don't know which way he's going. He took about another 500 casualties just during the retreat. That's interesting. And here we go. Army of the West is now attacking us. This estimate says 10,520 men to our almost 12,000. Fairly evenly matched. 8,600 infantry to our 10,600. He's got a little bit more cavalry, which probably just means his one cavalry brigade is a little bit bigger. And looks like he's got, I bet you that's just one battery of guns. Whereas we have our 22 guns spread out among 4 batteries. Anyway, let's get to it. And what I'm probably just going to put a cut here, get into the map, figure out the routes, where to defend or where to attack if that's the situation. Deploy the guys, run the time. And so I'll cut back in whenever the forces are getting close to engaging in combat. Okay, so we're here for the second Battle of Springfield, just a couple of days after the last one. Once again, we are in a defending situation. The one objective is here, the Wire Road. This is our owned route onto the battlefield, as well as this road down here. Not that that really matters. There are no reinforcements. The Federal entry point is here on the west side. Only one there was, so it was obvious where Lyon was going to spawn the army in, and the route to the objective, pretty obvious. There's a series of fords along this stretch, and so I'm a little bit spread out to cover them all. This one right here is the most obvious direct route, but as he sights our forces, he may try for one of the other ones. And indeed, he did come down the road predicted. Marmaduke, Van Dorn's division, which is only Marmaduke's brigade, is in position to get the first sight of them here, this was right about on the edge of the deployment zone. So we've got Raines's division of 2 brigades covering this crossing. Johnson's 2 brigades plus his horse artillery. There's a horse artillery here with Raines. Plus his little battery are covering this central crossing. And I had Rhodes's division. He does not have his horse artillery yet. That's the one little battery that hasn't gotten here. He's in position to either cover this ford here or flex to the right, depending upon what happens as the Federals get over into this area. And Bragg's artillery is on this elevated position, hopefully this time with clear line of sight to enemies all through this area. So I'd say that the Federals have got their work cut out for them in order to get across this little river. What's the name of this river? Wilson Creek. I had one other thing I wanted to point out. Oh yeah, and had enough engineering points. Got a nice little breastwork here for Raines's division, and this brigade is using this fence line as cover. There wasn't really a really good way to shoehorn a breastwork in there. And then we have a breastwork across the road here, which the artillery battalion is also using for cover. And with that, let's get time rolling. Marmaduke took some oh, I had the wrong unit clicked again. There we go. Marmaduke took some unnecessary casualties in the last battle. I don't really want him to engage too much today. But I don't want him to draw the Federals across this way. I would prefer that they try to assault here or here where we have breastworks and better artillery coverage. So I'm not going to pull him back around the flank this way. I'll bring him across the river here. And then I'll move him back over toward the left flank once he's back behind our line. Well, I may have moved him back too soon. Now we don't have sight. And I clicked the scouts again. It's easy to do because they sit right on the brigade. Ah! They're coming down this way. Okay, Raines may be front and center today. Let's get I don't have that crossing covered. Let's get some skirmishers out. I'm not re-engaging with them. I just want to keep eyes on the units. Okay, I am going to move Waitman and put him on behind this fence right over here. Go. Putting Rhodes's division into march order so they can move a little bit quicker and with less cohesion loss over here. May put them across the river. Oh, I don't know if Whiteman's going to get up there and behind his fence in time. Let's have Bragg limber up. Okay. What's a good spot? I don't know if these ripe crops block artillery LOS or not. We'll see. For now, I'm going to put them right up in here. That looks like a pretty good spot. Yeah, they're not coming over here. Okay, let's get Rhodes moving this way. Let's go ahead and take him across the river. Flanking force. Get Price to move over a little bit too, closer to the center of what's going to be the action. And let's put Johnson's division in marching order. Clark isn't moving very fast. So unlimber that artillery. He doesn't need that skirmisher right now. And these buildings don't offer any cover. Here comes Bragg's artillery. Here comes Rhodes's division. Oh, no, 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 no. I got Rhodes going across the river. I want Johnson to go a different place. Okay. Got him stopped, I hope. Maybe. I don't know. I want Johnson to come. He's not going to have a very good route, regardless. I don't want him to march. Well, let's just tell him to come here for now. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, Federal infantry advancing. Okay, I'm not really gonna engage with Marmaduke, but I wanted to move down here and kind of, I keep hitting that detachment. You pull your, pull that scout in. I just want him to kind of show up here on the flank and, you know, kind of force him to look in two directions. Kind of want to get, you know, I need Clark's brigade to get into position. He's moving pretty slow. Okay, Johnson's moving now. Road's getting close to the crossing. Bragg's artillery almost in position. I can't tell if he's limbered or no. No, he's firing. Why are these skirmishers facing that way and I can't change their facing? Killing me. Well, they're just kind of hung up in a glitch there, but they're serving their purpose of slowing down the Federal assault until I got two brigades on the fence line here. Road's just about to cross. Johnson's division is moving. This division needs to get right here in these breastworks. It's a little bit far ahead of Johnson's position. Yeah. Looks like that skirmisher broke when I wasn't looking. Okay. Firing and they got cover. That's good. Johnson appears hung up on this. It looks like he's moving now. Oh, they turned and fired on him. Dismount. Loose order. We got 2 brigades here. Waitman's starting to take some casualties. Oh, let's get Bragg unlimbered. Roads across the... No, God, that's taking forever. Waitman's actually doing pretty good over here. He's not taking casualties very quickly. Reinforce artillery right here, next to Bragg's artillery. Waitman's still doing good. Oh, Clark's actually taking more fire now. Road's still crossing. Man, that's that's taking a long time. Okay, this brigade is just about in position to... Okay, let's go ahead and back. Let's back Marmaduke up. Okay, this is going our way now. 400 to 1,100 casualties. Uh-oh, Clark is about to break. I don't really see where he's taking the fire from. I guess from this first calf. So reigns to rally. Bring the cav up behind this brigade. Now that this one is routed, get them caught between fire. Hope these guys can hang on long enough. Oh, there are two brigades here. Okay. Clark's taken 354 casualties, which is about half of our total casualties. Okay. Waitman is backing out, but he's taking a lot of casualties as well. But this side of the Federal advance is obviously getting crushed. Okay, there's now this brigade is routed. Okay, they're retreating now. And that took Rhodes forever to get across. He was never a factor in this battle. Is at 19.7% of his force. We're real close to the major victory. I think we can tell Waitman to stop. Maybe take that falling back debuff off. I mean, these guys are wavering too. We need to bottle up that cavalry unit while it's still in the river. Still in loose order. Rhodes is moving. Fatigued troops after the river crossing. Even though it's a ford, it's still slow. Should be in canister range. He is. This horse artillery ought to be firing canister. Aren't these guys moving? Come on. Okay, that cavalry is broken. Don't want to repeat the mistake I made last battle of mounting these guys up and them charging them right at a unbroken infantry brigade. That did not work out well last time. 20.2% casualties on the federal side. What's this up here? It's a broken unit. Oh, these guys are moving so slow. Okay, a few more casualties coming here. Waitman's wavering, but so is this guy. And I don't think he's taking return fire. Okay. Marmaduke firing on this brigade. No, it says he's in melee. Oh, that was because of his location with these guys. They're free now. No, he's actually firing into their rear. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, we've broken the threshold. It's now considered a major victory. We're over the 22%. And I'm not going to push it anymore. Basically, it's just Waitman and Marmaduke in position to do anything. They're doing what they can for these, getting casualties from these two units. Other than that, I'm just going to let it go. Not the first time it's happened, but it's so easy. Even when you know it's slow, it's still so easy to underestimate how long it's going to take for units to make a march through anything that isn't completely open, flat terrain or roads. It took Rhodes forever to move because he was moving along this creek bank and then over the ford. Woods and creeks are a killer as well, just a killer. Greatly increases the time to get through them or over them. Completely screws up the cohesion of the units when crossing a creek, and it increases their fatigue as well. Okay, broke that unit. Oh, let's see if we can get this battery before we're done. Because he hasn't limbered up to retreat. So they're pushing guns up a slope in forest. Considered a melee right now because there's a routed unit right here. I don't think he's actually taken any casualties from that. Shoot! Really, it's just this routed unit is blocking his line of sight, I think. See if we can charge through there, get him that way. I hope I don't regret that. Before he gets his guns turned around. Got him. That unit broke, and he only took 150 casualties, though. Maybe he had cover from that building. Look how slow these guys are moving. I gave him that order like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. Okay. Well, that turned out okay. Took 700 casualties. Almost all of it infantry. Marmaduke took light losses in his Cav brigade because I didn't order him to do something too stupid this time around. Didn't lose any guns. That's good. 3,200 casualties for Nathaniel Lyon, and he lost all of his guns again. I say again. He didn't have... I don't think he had artillery the last time we saw him. If he did, I don't remember it. And there we go, the Second Battle of Springfield. So it's not going well for the Federals in Missouri. It's 3 battles that have not gone their way now. And our one brigade that did rout over on the right, that brigade commander's name was Clark. It doesn't look like he got defamed from that. At least it didn't get to the newspapers if he was. Rebels on the move. We invade the North. I think that's just this force. He's been in Missouri the whole time. Wonder where this guy is going. Meanwhile, though, having fought 2 battles in quick succession, we are down into the orange for readiness. We still need our 2 final batteries to get to us. So we're still going to hang out here long enough to redress those 2 shortcomings. And we've lost sight of Fremont. At orange readiness, I don't think he's eligible to move in Union territory anyway, even though this is kind of a Confederate-controlled area. Yeah, I had said in the last episode I wasn't sure whether this is considered Union territory or Confederate territory for purposes of the morale buff. And if we look here in the mouse over tooltip for morale, it does say there, fighting spirit on enemy terrain minus 10.2%. So the fighting spirit is reduced if operating on enemy territory. So even though this area is kind of within the... Oh, we got our Diplomacy 1, which means we should have some Enfield and Lorenz rifles. So even though this corner of Missouri is under the influence of the town of Carrollton, Arkansas, it is still considered Union territory. Okay, let's take a quick... what do we want to do? Well, you're going to... Oh, there we go. Okay, so we have Diplomacy 1. Now, if we go Diplomacy 2, now that will open up more small arms. So it'll give us infield musketoons, which is a cav weapon. It's a slow firing cav weapon. It's not rapid fire like the carbines and repeaters are. But if I'm not mistaken, and I haven't ever used them because they're only available to the Confederacy. Well, that's not true. They're only available if you unlock Diplomacy 2, which I've never done before. I've used Diplomacy 1 before, but not Diplomacy 2. But my understanding is that the infield musketoon is the longest ranged cavalry weapon at 400, I think it's 400 yards, which is analogous to kind of standard infantry rifle muskets, the Springfields and the Enfields and Lorenzes. That would be nice to have, but I think we've got our Enfield and Lorenz infantry weapons. We're at triple B plus credit rating for now, so I don't think I need to go government funding just yet. So basically, I am between Militia Act 3, not so much for the 3-year enlistments, but because these militia acts also increase the recruitment quotas for volunteers. So not only does it increase the enlistments, it also grows the manpower pool. So I'm interested in that. Because right now I'm in a state where I've kind of got my existing forces building out to something approaching the organization that I want for them. But I don't really have the manpower to start building all new corps. And until I can do that, that kind of mitigates the point of getting military 2, which is what allows the Army Corps structure. So I'm thinking about this so that I can go with this, but I also need to be able to arm those troops with something better than mixed muskets and Springfield muskets. So I think I'm going to go for Industry 1 for now. Follow that up with militia and military. And now those 2 batteries are there. Hey guys, you missed the 2 battles when you were just down the road, still coming here. And let's see. This telegraph station ought to be done. Oh, look at that. It's rerouted the trunk again. And it branches off from Montgomery. I didn't know that the main trunk could branch off like that. That's cool. All right. So that job is done. There is a station here at Grenada. Even though its connection, it's coming up from Lexington. Okay. So let's get the engineering corps up to Helena and start building the telegraph connection up into Missouri. And with that, I think that will do for this episode. Thank you very much for watching.